Alright, so let's start hooking up some of the modules to the Midi Octopus. Now this is the great thing about the foot switch jacks on the Rockman modules, is that you can pick and choose which jacks you want to use to control the modules. I think one very important jack that I use on just about every module is the bypass jacks. Again, the bypass jacks just allow a module to be turned on or off, which is something that's important because I have a sustainer. As well as a distortion generator, which means that if I'm using the distortion generator, if I'm using the sustainer over here, that means I got to turn off the distortion generator, and vice versa. If I'm using the distortion generator, that means I want to turn the sustainer off, and that's all done by accessing or using the bypass jacks. Okay, so we'll just take it module by module. I'm going to make it as simple as I can. So we'll start with the sustainer. Again, we have just those three jacks on the sustainer that can be controlled. We have bypass, volume, and channel. Now I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I'm just going to use the bypass jack and the channel. I don't really use the volume. I really don't have any need for like a lead boost sound. So we'll go. You got to take your cable, whatever it is. So from the channel jack to letter A. Now you can choose whatever jack you want on the Midi Octopus. I just like to go in sequence, so I'll go from A to H. It's just less confusing. Okay. Now we'll go the bypass on the sustainer to letter B. So that's one way. This will turn the sustainer on or off. Okay. Again, the channel will change the sustainer to either the distortion channel or the clean channel. So that's it. That's the sustainer. That's all set up to be controlled. Let's set up the EQ now. So there's only one foot switch control on the EQ, and that's the foot switch bypass, which means it can be turned on or off. And just the way I have it all hooked up, this will go into F. Now I'm going to hook up the stereo chorus to the Midi Octopus and the distortion generator to the Midi Octopus. Alright, so I'm going to go from the bypass jack on the stereo chorus, and that's going to go into C on the Midi Octopus. And that's because I want to be able to turn the stereo chorus on or off. Now from the long chorus jack, I'm going to put that into letter D. And I choose that jack just because I like the sound of the long chorus. I'm not going to use the alternate mix or the sweep stop. Just based on, it's just preference. So that's it for the stereo chorus. Just the bypass, turn it on or off, and the long chorus, which just gives you a different kind of chorus sound. Now for the distortion generator, this is pretty simple too. I'm just going to put it into the bypass jack on the distortion generator, and that's going to go into letter E on the Midi Octopus. So I want to be able to turn that distortion generator on and off. I'm not going to use the lead boost jack on the distortion generator. Again, it's just based on preference. I don't have really a need for making this sound louder for any reason. The Digitech EQ here at the bottom is controlled through the Midi Octopus. All you have to do is just plug a MIDI cable from the through jack, or the through MIDI jack on the Midi Octopus to the Digitech EQ or whatever effect you're using. So that'll go in there. Alright, so this is now the front again of the Rockman rack, and we can start programming the modules through the Midi Octopus since they're all hooked up now. But before we do that, we have to make sure that the Midi Octopus is on a channel that's on on a channel that we can sync up to the Digitech EQ. So you have to hold down this button on the MIDI Octopus. It's labeled as MIDI CH, MIDI channel. So hold that down, and you can choose either channel 00 or channel 1. I'll choose channel 1, that's fine. And then so I have to go down here to the Digitech EQ, and then from there I can select the MIDI channel that I'm using. So I'll set that to 1, and then once that resets, then okay, there we go. So now we're both synced to channel number 41. So that means if I start clicking on the MIDI pedal, the numbers will be the same on whatever number I choose. So if I choose 42 on the MIDI pedal, the numbers should all be the same from the MIDI Octopus to the Digitech to the MIDI pedal. It says 42. Alright? So now let's take this module by module. So we want to program the modules. We want to set a combination of modules that we like. So let's say we want to use the sustainer, and we want to choose the we'll set a clean setting for the sustainer. All right. So we got to figure out of these buttons here, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, which button controls the channel. Well, if we remember from the back, when we were hooking up the modules, the channel jack on the sustainer was hooked up to letter A. Okay, so that means if we click letter A there, then it switches the channel. I don't know if you can see that here. I'll toggle it back and forth, so you can see it went to from the distortion channel to clean, distortion to clean. All right. So if we want to set it to clean, then all right, we got to keep it on there. All right. So letter A will be lit up. So now we're on the clean setting. Now let's see. Let's go to. Let's make sure we know what the bypass is. How are we going to bypass the sustainer if we need to? Well, if you remember, the bypass jack was hooked up to letter B. So that means letter B should be our bypass for the sustainer. Yes, it worked. So each module on the front is labeled, has a bypass label on it, and you always know that the module is in bypass if this LED is lit up red. All right. So we know how to put the sustainer in bypass, but I want to take it out of bypass. Because we're using the sustainer right now, so we want to make sure it's on. So right now it's on. If we wanted it off, just click the B, click letter B, and it's off. On, off, on, off. Okay. Now, now with the stereo chorus, let's make sure we know how to bypass the stereo chorus. Alright, so right now it's not lit up, which means the stereo chorus is on. And the bypass on the stereo chorus is hooked up to letter C. Okay? So now if we click letter C, it bypasses or turns off the stereo chorus. Okay, you see this light? Alright. Now with the clean setting, I like to put on chorus. I like having a chorus on the clean setting. It just makes it sound fuller and a little bit more lush. So we will keep the stereo chorus on. And it will take the sustainer off of bypass. Alright, so let's try another combination of programming effects. Now we're done with 42, so let's start another channel by going on 43 here. And let's say we want this channel to be a distortion channel. I want to use the sustainer, the distortion on the sustainer for the main sound. Okay, so if the channel on the sustainer is hooked up to letter A on the MIDI Octopus, then we know that controls the channel. So what we want to do is keep it on the distortion, which is this green LED right here. So that's all set up. The sustainer is now in the distortion channel. So now that the sustainer is on, we want to turn off the distortion generator. So the bypass on the distortion generator is set up to letter E. Alright, so we want to click letter E because that will bypass or turn off the distortion generator. Let's see. I want to turn the chorus off. I don't want to have the chorus on this distortion channel. So we're going to bypass the stereo chorus, and that jack was set up to letter C on the Midi Octopus. So if we click letter C, then this bypass LED comes on, and so we know that this effect is off, which is what we want. EQ I want to keep on. It just gives it a better sound, obviously. So I want to keep that on. So we don't want to click letter F because letter F would bypass the EQ. So we're going to keep that off. So the EQ is on. And then we can go down to the Digitech EQ if you have one. You can go to, you can program it however you want, and then press store to save it. And then now that we like this combination, we got to save this combination. So we got to go up here again to our record button, hold it down, and you'll see this number blink. Okay. So now channel 43 is saved. So here's channel 42. Here's our preferences, the clean with the chorus on and EQ on and distortion generator off. And then we go to channel 43. Now it's distortion with EQ, no chorus, no distortion generator. This Digitech EQ is on. And there's only 2 LEDs lit up on the Midi Octopus. Alright, so let's try another program combination. Let's go to channel 44, and we'll make channel 44 another distortion channel. But this time let's use the distortion generator. So what we're going to want to do is turn off the sustainer. So we will press the letter B, and that turned off, or it bypassed the sustainer. So now we're just using the distortion generator. I want to add chorus to the distortion generator. So the stereo chorus is on right now because there is no red LED. So we know that that's on, so that's good. And we also want to have the EQ on as well, which it is because there's no red LED lit up. Now going down to this Digitech EQ, I could, again change some of the settings however I wanted. This is just very minor changes, just some random. So I'll press store. Alright, so channel 44 is set. The distortion generator with the stereo chorus, with this EQ, and lastly, if we like this combination, we got to save it. So we'll press this red button again, and channel 44 is all set up with our saved combinations. So we just set up channel 42, 43, and 44. That's all saved in the Midi Octopus. 42 was our clean channel with chorus and EQ. 43 was our distortion channel with the sustainer with EQ. And then 44 was our other distortion channel using the distortion generator, chorus, and EQ.